it's north of here.
That's Key West Chris right there. The South is north of Key West, okay? The Key West is not in the South. Right now, we got Miss Pamela Childs with us this morning. How you doing this morning?
Well, Daddy, good morning. We finally got this thing to work.
I got my reading glasses on.
Before we were ready to go live, I realized that my computer was down to 25% power. So I was racing around trying to get that done, but we did it.
Well,
nice to meet you.
Well, when you do live radio and live video, that's when all the craziness, goes crazy with you, But I'm so glad I got my reading glasses on here since you're joining this morning. I'm so proud to have you on Sunday Mornings with a T, man.
Well, I'm so honored to be here. Thank you.
I got your new book here, and Keys Eats.
Looks familiar.
Yeah, that does look familiar. And there we go. And so tell us a little bit about, I know you went to University of Boston, and after that, it's been a crazy ride.
University.
Yeah, there we go, Boston University. And it's been a crazy ride ever since. So fill us in on a little bit of it.
Well, the ride has been a fun one. And, I've really been blessed that I've been able to do what I wanted to do. I never married. I never had children. I had no one to worry about except me for many, many years. So I went off on a lot of adventures. I started a small ad agency in Boston when I was about 28. Mm-hmm. And from there, owned restaurants and bars and had 3 retail stores, one of which was in Key West, which is really how I got to Key West.
Right.
And after doing that, I got involved in the magazine business, which has been my favorite thing of all. I'm the publisher of Destination Florida magazine, which is the official in-room magazine for all the top lodging properties, not only in the Keys, but also throughout Florida. We have publishers in Southwest Florida, Tampa, Daytona. We have a electronic presence in the Palm Beaches and soon Orlando. So that's obviously taken up a lot of my time. And, for years I've wanted to do a cookbook. And we've had all these recipes that we've been collecting in our magazine, Destination Florida. And, years and years ago, my mother was my big inspiration. And I was kind of like her sous chef. She was a wonderful, wonderful cook. And she loved to entertain. And she would be making, all these hors d'oeuvres and wonderful things. And my first stab at a cookbook was taking all of her little recipes that were sort of handwritten and cutouts. And this was during one of my first copywriting jobs in Boston. And I would type up these recipes and then sneak off to the copy room in the ad agency and run them off, on the copier. And I made up this little book called Greta Gershwin's Easy Gourmet Hors d'oeuvre Recipes. Nice. And, maybe it was 12 pages. I stapled it together and I took out a little ad in Sunset Magazine, a classified ad, and I would sell them for $3. And it's so funny because I'm still very good friends with some of my friends from 3rd and 4th grade. And one of whom, my friend Debbie, actually said she still had that book. And she brought it out the other day, and I looked at it, and it was the biggest embarrassment. There were all these spelling errors, it was just, it was such a mess. But I thought, maybe I can redo this little book someday. But anyway, that was sort of the backstory. We've been collecting all of these recipes in our magazine, and I've put them in a little folder all these years. I keep putting them in this folder, And when COVID hit last year, it kind of threw us for a loop, and we decided because our magazine is in the hotels, we suspended publication of the print issue and went to an online edition. So, which is actually still as much work, but for some reason I felt like I had more time on my hands because I wasn't marketing, as much and running out and getting advertising and all that. So I said to my designer, Marcia, who is a prolific designer, she's fabulous. I said, let's take all of this information that I've been gathering over the years and put it into a Keys cookbook. It's all this great information, and it just kind of went away, and I wanted to preserve it in some way. So we decided to do this cookbook. We called it Keys Eats, Signature Recipes and Noteworthy Restaurants from the Florida Keys and Key West, because it also includes backstories about different restaurants and chef stories. And, it's kind of whimsical. And when we first started designing it, Marcia, gave me her design and her idea, and it was like a typical cookbook. And I said, no, I said, we're the clients. We don't have to, we don't have to please anybody but us. I said, let's just make it really kind of fun and funky. And she said, not junky. I said, no, not junky, funky. So off we went, and I said, add some illustrations with the photography. We'll add some little handwritten notes in there and just make it kind of a fun read, even if you never made the recipes. So that's what we did. And we didn't know, what was going to be the reaction. And we are so thrilled because it's doing really well on Amazon, but it's also, we're selling it throughout the Keys at the Chambers and restaurants who have gift shops. And different shops, and it's just doing great. I mean, I'll never retire off of it, but
sure.
It's just been so much fun.
Well, it's a passion, and whenever you take all of the things that you're passionate about and you put it in a book, like you say, there's cookbooks and then there's cookbooks, but this is more Key Westy. All right.
Yeah,
that's what I like to call it. Everything about Key West is different. It's like its own little country down there. It is the Conch Republic, for goodness sakes.
And each key is different.
That's right. And so it is very, very well put together. I like how you put it all together. And we were talking the other day that a lot of people that just go to Key West and their destination is Sloppy Joe's or Captain Tony's or Duval Street, which I love all those places. Don't get me wrong. But people that really love Key West, they love walking around the island. And there's so many world-renowned chefs that have restaurants down there that bring their passion from all over the world to Key West. And,
that's right.
People really need to know, Beach TV or Keys TV does a really good job of spotlighting a lot of those restaurants.
Yes, sure.
Sometimes we have that playing here in the Chocolate Bar for people that are going to Key West for the first time or whatever. But you really need to check out all the, of course, I love, Louis' Backyard and all that, but and I love having brunch at the Blue Heaven. And all that, but
another good one. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but there's so many places down there that people really need to check out because it's such a great place to get food.
Well, and in the book, in addition to the recipes, obviously we couldn't have recipes for every single restaurant. And the recipes span from Key West to Key Largo. Yeah. But we also have a really great comprehensive restaurant guide that includes a lot of all these wonderful restaurants that we may not have recipes for. So it's also a nice reference tool. And, if you buy the book and you go down the Keys, you can stop along the way and have people autograph it, different chefs. In Key West, we had a great recipe from Chef John Correa from Cafe Soleil, I'm sorry, there's some name in my head, for his carpaccio. And it's one of my favorite restaurants. He does a phenomenal job. And there's an article about him. Manja, we have a nice rigatoni and shrimp recipe. Latitudes, which is, the island this restaurant on Sunset Key. Mm-hmm. There's a burrata with strawberry sauce, which is really interesting. Tavern in Town at the Marriott, always, that's another exceptional restaurant. And you wouldn't think so because sometimes restaurants that are in hotels are kind of like, Yeah. But Tavern in Town has always been, a great hang, especially at happy hour. And they have entertainment, Carmen Rodriguez is there a lot. And we have a cilantro seared swordfish recipe from them. There's just lots of great things. And then if you move up the Keys, I don't know if you hang mostly in Key West, but Ziggy and Mad Dogs. Do you know Ziggy and Mad Dogs?
I do. Yeah. I was going to get to that. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've got a great story. the backstory about what that used to be. It was part of an old pineapple plantation,
Right.
and it was originally Ziggy the Conch's, and this guy Ziggy had been a maitre d' at one of the casinos in Marathon, and then went up and opened this little restaurant. It was just a little bit of a restaurant, but he had very interesting food, and he was the first person to be doing kind of this fusion food with the Caribbean influences.
Yeah.
And it was like the hottest place. I think rumor has it Al Capone used to go in the back shack back there and have card games and stuff and gambling games.
Nice.
But all sorts of stars would go through that restaurant. And then Ziggy died. His son took it over for a while, and then it just wasn't much of anything until Jim Mandich, who played for the Miami Dolphins. He was part of that 1970 2 team that was unbeatable, and he and his partner Randy Kasowitz bought it, and they revived it. So it was much like the old Ziggy's, and another phenomenal restaurant that I love to go to, and then there's so many more. There's Square Grouper just opened a new, Square Grouper, which was in Pudjo. They just opened another restaurant in Islamorada. And Islamorada is hopping. Of course, there's Green Turtle, Cayo, so many more. And up the Keys, we have Key Largo Fish Company, which is great. Have you been there?
Yes, I have been there. I was going to say, I always recommend that people that just fly into Key West are really missing out on the Keys. They're such in a hurry to get to Key West. I always what we do is, my favorite trip is to go. We have some friends in Anna Marie Island, and we'll go there. Then it's about 4 hours. We do our show there on Sunday, and then we drive down to Key Largo. We stay at Sunset Cove. Because I love that old retro, hotel. It's like right out of the 70s. Dinosaur statues and everything everywhere. I love it there. And then I love to get up the next morning and drive down to the Keys. And there's a little place, I want to say it's in Marathon, maybe Islamorada, but it's called the Wooden Spoon. And
that's a Marathon, yep.
And that's my favorite place to stop and get breakfast on my way down to Key West. I just love going in there. There's a character in there that looks like he's right out of The Godfather or whatever. He's got his got his gold chain on. And you don't want to ask how he got there. You just kind of
Is he in hiding?
Yeah, is he in hiding? He's got his big Cadillac parked around back. It's just this little hole in the wall place, but those are the places that I'm passionate about the Keys, and people that skip that trip down. All right, even if you want to fly into Miami and get your rent-a-car, drive down. You really take your time to get to Key West. It's going to be there, and you're going to have fun when you get there. But there's so much you're missing out on all the way down.
Well, it's funny because I lived in Key West for so many years, and then I moved to Key Colony Beach, which is just off Marathon, because it was kind of the halfway point, and it was easier for me to do business. But we would be out having lunch. We hang out in restaurants all the time, and I would say to people, where are you going? Maybe I'd be at the Green Turtle in Islamorada. Right. Where are you headed? And they said, we're going to the Keys. You're in the Keys.
You're in the Keys.
You're there.
Okay.
I said, no, the Keys. I said, you mean Key West?
Yeah.
They said, yes, Key West.
Yeah.
But you talk about breakfast. Another great breakfast place. I don't know if you've ever been. Is Mangrove Mike's. Have you been to Mangrove?
I've been by there. I've never been to it. Yes.
Stop there sometime. I think you'll enjoy it. And down in Key Largo, Snook's Bayside is another great little restaurant. They've got a fabulous sunset celebration. Nice. Where they gong the bell, as the sun is going down. Really good. And Buzzard's Roost. So many people don't know about Buzzard's Roost, which is just when you first come into the Keys. It's on this little back road. Right off. When you first come in, you can see if there's a billboard. But it's just a fabulous little restaurant sitting on the cove. They've got great food. They're, I don't know. Yeah, I would recommend anybody to fly into Fort Lauderdale or Miami and then make that drive. And it's just such a nice little jaunt. In fact, Judy Hull from the Almirada Chamber worked very hard to get that Route 1, US 1, designated as a federal highway, beautiful highway. And she was able to get funds, which now allows the Keys to just keep making it more beautiful, you know, with federal funds and doing all sorts of things. So it's a wonderful, wonderful ride. And I'm glad you've taken it a few times, but you have to make your stops. You know what happens to us? I think we find places we like, and then we just keep going back to them.
That's right.
And there's, you know, because it's habit, it's what you love. And I mean, I do the same thing, but there are so many great places to explore, and new ones keep popping up all the time.
Well, when we were doing our songwriter showcase in 2019, and that Sunday after we finished the Sunday show, I wanted to get out and see the island because we're so busy at the showcase. Everybody comes to see us, right? So we see everybody, but you know, I want to walk down the Mallory Square. I want to get out and see the island because, and I remember looking at the hippie chick here and saying, listen, I want to go because I don't know when I'm going to make it back here. You know, you never know what's going to happen.
You never know.
Now, we did not know the world was going to shut down. I mean, that was unbelievable. But I remember that moment standing right there on the sidewalk and thinking, man, you know, I want to enjoy as much as I can. And just like the wooden spoon I mentioned, you know, that's it's just like you say, it's a habit. It's a place that you like. There's so many. If I had a month, I'd go to all of them, right? You know, but you know, as I'm working my way down there, I will try some of the ones that you're recommending for sure on our next trip down. For sure,
there are so many. As I said, by the way, before I forget, Sammy Mays told me to tell you hello.
Oh, hey, that's Mayor Gonzo Mays. Yeah, yeah. She's been to our Tiki House event several times, and
she has. That girl gets around, I'll tell you.
Yes, she does. You know, that's a whole nother. We won't get into her books and all that stuff.
She's an ambassador for Destination Florida.
Absolutely.
We work closely together.
Well, so, you know, this is such a great collection of all those. And I love the little the background stories behind the places because, you know, again, if you have the Keys disease, it goes beyond your first trip and all the craziness you did that night. You know, it's about the history. I love the history of the Keys. And you know how everything that happens. One of my favorite places to stay, if we're not staying with friends in Key West, is the Speakeasy. And I always talk about the Speakeasy because of it goes all the way back to, you know, when he used to go over to Cuba and get the rum, and they had the little bar in the back, and you just had a tip jar, and people, you know, it was you put their money in, right?
Right. Yeah, that's how they paid.
Yeah, the honest policy.
Exactly.
Right? Remember when we had the honest policy?
Yes.
Yeah. So
we're dating ourselves.
Yeah. Taking the jar.
Yeah. So they would take a drink or whatever. They put their money in the jar. He'd be going somewhere. He'd be over to Cuba to get the rum or whatever. I just love all that history. The railings on the front porch, which has the diamonds and the hearts. It meant that there was a card game in the back. And there's so many things that people are missing out in the Keys if they're not paying attention or if they're not interested. I'd say if you're not interested, because somebody will tell you about it if you're interested. If you just have a question to ask, anybody will tell you, you know.
Well, and it's great when you hook up with the old timers too, who who have all those stories, and which you can often do if you sit at one of the good bars.
Well, Key West Chris, we had on before you, was right diagonally from the Speakeasy. They had a place called the Cork and Stogie. And,
yes, I remember that.
Yeah,
sure.
And so the veranda, as we called it, you just sat out on the veranda, and of course there was that place directly across the street. There was a lot of things going there, you know, but we won't talk about that. But on the veranda of the Cork and Stogie, I met so many people, had so many conversations with people there, just relaxing with a glass of wine or a beer or whatever. I love that part of Key West. It's just in my heart and soul.
It is, and I hope you get down there more often than.
Yes.
Usually.
Well, I'm working on that.
Maybe you'll be there forever sometimes. That's what happens, you know.
Well, that's what they say, and we're definitely working on that. And we'll be down in March. We got a group of our Conkfish Nation friends, and of course, you know Amber with Key West Finest.
Of course, I love her.
You know her. You knew her mother and all that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, we go way back.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to hanging out with them in March, and then we'll be back down in November for the showcase. But hopefully, we'll get to see you down there.
Well, I hope so too. You know, I'm thinking maybe, in fact, my designer Marsha just said, "When are we going to do another cookbook?" It took us 8 months to do this one. You know,
Yeah.
but now that we've got it down, I think a second one would be a little easier, and we can include even more restaurants in
Yeah.
second edition.
Well,
So that's on our plate for.
You've got all that history in your head. I mean, there's a lot more there. Maybe it's not as many recipes, more it's history and
Yeah.
food. That's kind of a
Yes.
cool idea too.
More tales.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, Pamela Childs, I certainly appreciate you being on the show this morning. This is the book right here, Keys Eats, and tell everybody. There's a lot of places all the way down the Keys that they can stop in
Now,
and get a
if
copy
you're
of
out
it.
of town, you can order it on Amazon.
Right.
If you want a signed copy, we're getting more and more places who are carrying it. But let me just look at my notes here. Let's see. I should know these off the top of my head, but in Key West, you can get it at the Key West Business Guild.
Mm-hmm.
Lower Keys is Square Grouper, both in their Cudjoe restaurant and also in their Almirada restaurant. Marathon, the Island Fish Company, and the Marathon Chamber has it. In the Upper Keys, Almirada Chamber has it. Lazy Days Again, Olive Marada, and as I said, Square Grouper. So we're adding more locations every day, and we're getting terrific response. I'm really so honored because this is really my first book, and I'll tell you, I have a whole new appreciation for authors and what they go through.
Yeah,
And
me too.
I thank you for helping us let everyone know about it. I really enjoyed being on your show today.
Well, it's next to music, I would say that writing is a close second passion of mine, and I appreciate what you guys go through because I do it myself. So I know how much work, and because it's all in your head, and it's hard to put all that into a book to where everybody can explain it. You guys did a great job with this.
Oh, thank you, honey.
Yeah.
You're a doll.
Yeah, and you can also go over to tikimanradio.com, click on Tiki Bar Publishing. I've got your book on there as well. All you got to do is click on the picture of the book. There's also a little write-up that I did about the book, but you can...
Hey, you're hired.
Yay, we're finally hired, So.
You've got a job with me, kid, if you need it.
I appreciate it. But we love you, and hopefully we'll see you in the Keys sometime, or even if you're flying through or you're stopping through Chattanooga or whatever, you're welcome here anytime.
Something I do quite often.
Well, hey, we're right here, right outside the lake, in Chattanooga. So yeah, but anyway,
I'll probably look for you in the Keys.
Yeah, that'll probably be right.
Okay.
All right, we love you, and we'll see you down the road. Okay.
Okay, absolutely, and thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Stay well.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, let's see here. Miss Pamela Childs.